important to keep the data types that you're working with in your mind. When you pull data from a table, save the values into parameters variables, and then combine values together in a routine, all of those data types must be compatible or you'll get inconsistent results. SQL Server tries its best to automatically convert different data types into compatible type for you. This is a process called implicit conversion. We can see how this works by setting up two variables. I'll call them var1 and var2. The first one will get an integer data type, and the second one will be character data. I can then give each variable a value, the integer, the number 1, and the character, the text 2. Now, even though these are two different data types, when I add them together in this select statement that adds var1 and var2 together, SQL Server can still figure out what I probably intended. Let's go ahead and run this, and we'll see that SQL Server correctly adds 1 and 2 to get the result 3. Now, I'm emphasizing the word probably here because the statement that I just executed is kind of ambiguous. SQL Server is guessing that I want to add these two numbers together, but a plus symbol can also be used to join test strings. If I instead wanted the character 1 joined with character 2 and return 12, then I need to override SQL Server's implicit conversion and be more specific about what I want to happen. You can do that with two different functions, and I've got those listed on line 13 and 14. These functions are convert and cast. Both of these do exactly the same thing. With the convert function, you specify the new data type and then the expression that you want to convert. The result will look something like this. Let's go ahead and comment out line number 10 and uncomment line 13. Now I can run all of this again, and you will see that I get the result 12. That's because it's treating 1 and 2 as test strings now and joining them together. The cast function is almost identical to convert, but it lists the arguments in reverse order. First, you have the expression you want to convert, in this case our variable var1, and then you have the as keyword, followed by the data type that you want it to be turned into. To see what that looks like, let's go ahead and comment line 13 out, and I'll uncomment line 14. Once again, I'll run all of this, including declarations of the variables, execute it, and we get the same results. So either way, SQL Server is doing the same thing. It turns one data type into another. Now that both variables are being treated as text, SQL Server will collect and concatenate these text strings instead of trying to perform mathematical operations. So it's important to understand when implicit data conversion is taking place in your routines so that you can be sure that the values are being treated as you intend. This is especially important when pulling data from external sources, such as other database platforms or external spreadsheets, since there might not be a one-to-one conversion between the data types of the external sources and the data types that SQL Server uses. When in doubt, it's a good idea to err on the side of caution and be specific about what it is that you want to do. Now, when implicit conversion is allowed to take place, you want to keep data type precedence in mind. Precedence describes the order that the data types will be converted to. For instance, if I create two new variables on lines 19 and 20, I'm going to set one to the integer data type and the other to the decimal data type. Then I will set these values. The integer will be set to 1000 and the decimal set to 500.5. Now, if I had both of these together, what's going to happen? Well, if both of these were converted to an integer, we would lose precision in the calculation, since the fractional component of the decimal value will get dropped or rounded off. So instead, SQL Server evaluates the integer value up to a decimal data type and then performs the mathematical operation. This is how we get the correct answer of 1500.5. During implicit conversion, data types are always evaluated up to the compatible type, never down. To see the full sequence of data type precedence, take a look at this list at your URL here. Data types at the top of the list take precedence over data types at the bottom of the list. This can help you visualize that an integer gets evaluated up to a decimal, and the decimal will get elevated up to a float. Finally, while taking a look at the documentation, you might find the chart at this URL helpful as well. It shows all of the different combinations of data types to help illustrate when implicit conversion will take place, indicated by orange circles. and when explicit data type conversion will need to take place, indicated by blue squares. To read the chart, just find the data type that you are moving from on the left column, and then locate the intersection with the data type that you want to go to listed across the top.